So there's a few things that you want to consider. You want to utilize your study hall time wisely, making sure that you're doing things school related and not just watching YouTube videos the whole time. You also want to prioritize your after school schedule. For example, I would recommend finishing your homework right when you get home from school rather than procrastinating it until midnight, for example.
The passing periods here at PTHS are 5 minutes long. Some advice that I could give for making it on time to class would be to know your locker combo and, get good at doing it. Something else would be to, maybe if you want to have all your stuff with you just in case so you don't have to go from class to locker every single time. And lastly, just don't sit around talking to your buddies forever. You'll see them after school. It'll be all right.
To join clubs at PTHS, it's quite simple. Some, you might have to attend a meeting. Others, you already might be enrolled in the class, like FFA. And lastly, you can find these by talking to teachers on the website, or lastly, talking to other students.
Yes, you can have a job and play a sport at the same time, but you're going to have to communicate with your employer and your coach to work your schedule around the other and kind of figure out what you want to do, but you're probably going to have to prioritize one over the other. Whether it's your job or your sport, one of them is going to have to be something you work around.
Staying motivated in high school is not a hard task until you fall very behind on your homework, because then you don't want to do anything at all. To stay motivated, think about the goals you set and the future that you want to hold. I'm not saying to only focus on schoolwork all the time, but if you focus on school, you will also make a lot more time for yourself.
Don't be afraid to ask your teachers if you need help. That's what they're there for. You will struggle through high school for sure, so if something doesn't make sense to you, don't hesitate to ask your teacher for help. Also, don't take any classes that you can't handle. If you don't take classes that you personally enjoy, or that ones that are too difficult, you can lose interest in those subjects and fall behind.
When coming into high school, you want to be prepared. You can ask other high school students what kind of supplies you might need so you don't have too much or not enough supplies. High school comes along with many opportunities, so don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone to do sports, clubs, and more. And don't be afraid to ask your teachers any kind of question. They are good people who will help you out with whatever you need, especially if you don't feel comfortable talking to anybody else.
All the teachers are fun and nice. They may seem intimidating at some points, but as long as you are respectful and attentive in their class, they will be respectful back. It also helps to get to know them by saying hello when you see them in the halls. As long as you try to be a good student, you will always have a positive experience.
Each student in the FLC will have a locker assigned, either by the FLC or nearby. The student will have a 3-digit combo number that they will have to remember. Lastly, your books and your folders and other materials like such go in the top cubby, while your book bag and your coat and other belongings like that typically go in the bigger compartment, which is on the bottom.
This is a great question, but there's no definite answer. It really just depends on the teacher. When they assign an assignment, they expect it to be turned in on the due date. However, if a conflict occurs, contact the teacher and communicate with them. They're usually understanding that things happen, and just get the work in as soon as possible.
So for me, coming from a small school, I thought was going to be hard. I only had 4 kids in my graduating class, but I knew a lot of kids here, and I met a lot of people, and it wasn't too bad. Just find people you know and stick in a group. You'll meet new people in class. Don't be afraid to talk to other people, because they're probably just as afraid as you, and you'll be fine.